Your Honor.
Good morning. Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Veronica Luevino.
Miss.
Do you want me to spell out my last name?
Nope, I have it. I'm just gonna.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's okay. All right, Miss Luevino, you are here this morning for your initial appearance on some charges out of Tucson City Court involving assault, criminal damage, and disorderly conduct. These are all domestic violence offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is also the time for your arraignment for these charges. I am going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You are presumed innocent on all three of these charges. I've had the chance to review some information provided by pretrial services. It tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances. It also provides me with information about victim input as to your release conditions. It does look like your husband is the victim in this case. He has said that he is fine with you returning home. Is that something that you, is that? Okay. Okay, so Ms. Lewano, as long as you promise me that you're going to return to a court date that I give you, I'll release you today. Will you do that?
Yeah, wait, my husband said oh, wait, yes, ma'am. Sorry, when do I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I am going to release you today on your promise to appear. The release condition in place for you is that you just not commit any further acts of domestic violence. You're going to be allowed to have contact with your husband, and you are also welcome to return home at this time.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, when was that? Oh, sorry. I don't remember got this before. Thank you, ma'am.
You spoke to pretrial services, so that's the information that the court has, okay? Your next,
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Your next court date is going to be April 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's at Tucson City Court with Judge Millian. You do have to show up at that date and time. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Also, the court could go forward in your absence if you don't appear for that hearing. They could set future hearings, including a trial. And if you get convicted at that trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences for failing to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand your conditions of release in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, Ms. Levano, that's all for today. When you get released, you're going to get a copy of your court paperwork. It's going to have the date and time and location for Tucson City Court.
Okay, thank you.
We're all done. Good morning, Mr. Davis.
Good morning, Your Honor. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay.
I see we have about, yes, go ahead.
No, I saw that you had your hand up. We do have, it looks like 4 Spanish speakers that are going to be coming up here.
Thank you. I'll be standing by.
Thank you. Jail, is there someone from the public defender's office there?
Yep, he's walking right in, Your Honor.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we had someone. Obviously, we have some misdemeanor matters to do first, so.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Fatak. You're fine. I just wanted to make sure that there was someone in the building and available when we got to those felonies.
Yes, Judge, I'm here. Thank you.
Good morning, Sunny.
Good morning, Neil.
Good morning. Tell me your name.
Mr.
Mr. Barrio Nuevo, you are here today on a charge of shoplifting out of Pima County Justice Court. You do have the right to remain silent on this offense. Anything you say can and will be used against you. It looks like in addition to this charge, Mr. Barrio Nuevo, you have a hold out of the Department of Corrections. So regardless of what I do here today on this case, you are going to end up being held because of that DOC hold. I am going to appoint an attorney for you on this shoplifting case. I'm going to appoint Robin Ald to represent you, and we're going to set a hearing in this matter tomorrow, March 28th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're going to appear via video, much like you're doing here today. I am imposing a $500 cash or secure bond on this. Really, Mr. Barrio Nuevo, it's about getting this matter resolved before you have to go off to DOC. So you'll get a chance to talk with Mr. Ald to see what you can do about this case. And as soon as it's resolved, then the jail can let DOC know so that you can take care of that matter. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed?
Yes.
I do need to tell you that if for some reason you do get released, it is your responsibility to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
You're all done for today, Mr. Barrio Nuevo. Hi, tell me your name.
Mr.
Mr. Granillo, you are here today on a warrant out of West Mesa Justice Court. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Looks like you have other matters here in Pima County that are holding you. Do you have another felony case going on?
Yeah.
What's your next court date in that case?
I don't know any paperwork.
You don't have any paperwork?
No.
All right. So it looks like the warrant out of Mesa Justice Court is for drug paraphernalia and failing to appear. This is stemming from an incident that occurred back in 2020. There's a $500 bond amount on that warrant. At this time, I am going to impose that $500 cash or secured bond. We're going to set a review hearing date. Hang on just a second. Okay. All right. So with that bond amount on the warrant, Mr. Granillo, once you get your Pima County case resolved, the jail will let West Mesa Justice Court know if you can post that bond, you'll be released. If not, they'll ask West Mesa Justice to come get you and get that taken care of. All right?
Okay.
Any questions?
No,
Great, you're all done for today.
I'm sending your tears.
settle.
Walk out there.
What?
Hi, tell me your name.
Jacob Settle.
Mr. Settle, you were here on a couple matters today. There is a warrant for you out of Pima County Justice Court for driving on a suspended license and failing to appear. You're also here today for a new charge involving disorderly conduct. It is a domestic violence offense. You do have the right to remain silent on these matters. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services on this case. If I release you today, Mr. Settle, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future on your cases?
Yes, ma'am.
The other thing, you are not going to be allowed to return back to the house where you've been staying with Miss Caruth. You're not going to be allowed to have any contact with her.
Okay.
Do you have somewhere else that you can go stay?
Yeah.
Do you need to return to that house to get any of your belongings?
Yes.
All right. So I am going to release you, Mr. Settle, on both of these matters today. I'll give you a future court date in a moment. Your conditions of release: do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. You are not to have any contact with the victim in this case. That is Miss Caruth. Do not go anywhere near where she is living or working. Don't have contact with her on the phone. Absolutely no contact at this time. I've been able to review information that pretrial services provided me about your case, and it looks like they were not able to reach her to get her position on conditions of release. In the absence of her talking about contact with you, my order is no contact. So it doesn't matter at this point what she says until another judge says it's okay for the two of you to have contact. There is absolutely no contact. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I'm going to check a box that says you may return one time with a police escort to get your belongings. So when you get released later today, you're going to need to get a copy of your appearance order with the release conditions. Take that order to a nearby police station or call 911. Don't sit out in front of the house. Go to a nearby convenience store, somewhere that you can meet the police, and then they will take you to the residence, but don't go there alone. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Your next court date on both of these matters is going to be April 7th at 10:30. That's going to be at Pima County Justice Court. Again, when you get your paperwork later today, all of that information will be on there. You do have to get that driving on a suspended license matter taken care of. Your additional conditions of release on that case are that you not drive without a valid license. You're also not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs while these cases are going on. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you fail to appear for that next court date, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand those consequences for failing to appear?
Yes.
All right, you're all done for today, Mr. Settle.
Thank you.
There's.
Hi, tell me your name.
Dean Harrison.
Mr. Harrison, you were here on multiple, probably 10 different cases out of Tucson City Court where you have warrants that are outstanding for your arrest on charges of criminal trespass, multiple counts of theft, more criminal trespass counts, and then you have new charges relating to a criminal trespass, resisting arrest, and interfering with the judicial proceeding. This is the time for your initial appearance on the new charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is also the time for your arraignment on these new charges. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty on your behalf. You are presumed innocent. Today is about setting conditions of release on your case. I am going to impose a $1,000 cash bond on all of these matters today, given your history of failing to appear. If you do post that bond, Mr. Harrison, you are not to have any contact with the victims in this case. That means do not return to the incident locations where the criminal trespasses occur and where the shopliftings occurred. I am going to appoint the Grinkowich Law Office to represent you Looks like they have represented you in the past on these matters. Your next court dates are going to be April 4th at 1:45 if you don't post that bond and you remain in custody. Your attorney will be out to talk with you, but you will appear via video, much like you're doing today, in front of a Tucson City Court judge on all of these matters. If you do post your bond and you get released, your next court date is going to be April 28th at 2 p.m. When you get released, if you get released, they're going to provide you with copies of your paperwork that's going to have all the information on it. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've given you today, Mr. Harrison?
I do.
I need to tell you that if you fail to appear for future court dates, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with hearings in your absence, subsequently set hearings other than the dates that I just gave you, and they could also go forward with trials in your absence. If a trial proceeds in your absence and you can't be sentenced within 90 days of that conviction, you will lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences for failing to appear?
I do.
All right, you're all done for today, Mr. Harrison.
Go.
Hi, tell me your name.
Yep, go.
Mr. McCullough, you were here on a Tucson City Court matter involving failing to comply with conditions on your domestic violence case. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. It also looks like you have a felony matter pending as well. So regardless of what I do on these conditions here today, that is going to be something else that's going to hold you. I've had the chance to review some information in your Tucson City Court file. Mr. McCullough, you're going to be held today on a $2,500 cash bond. Your next court date is going to be April 2nd at 1:30, and that's going to be in front on City Court. We are going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you in that matter. Do you understand the conditions of release that I have just imposed?
Yes.
If you do post that $2,500 cash bond and your felony matter gets resolved, you do have to appear on April 2nd at 1:30. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
You're all done for today, Mr. McCullough.
You get me. Your Honor, could we please waive reading on the next one?
Yeah, what I'll do, Mr. Fitok, on a couple of them today is I will let them know that they should turn to you to look at what the charges are.
Sure. Thank you.
Hi, tell me your name.
Joe Chavez.
Mr. Chavez, you were here today for an initial appearance on some felony charges. For those charges, I'm going to ask you to turn to Mr. Fitok. He's the attorney representing you for these proceedings here today, and he's going to show you on the screen the information reflecting what your charges are. Once you've had a chance to take a look at those, let me know.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Have you had a chance to see those charges, Mr. Chavez? All right.
Yes, I have.
You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. It does tell me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. I've also had an opportunity to review the state's recommendation as to conditions of release. They are asking for a $100,000 cash or secured bond on this matter. That is my inclination, and he also will be ordered not to have any contact with any minors in this case if he does post that bond. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Mr. Fitok?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd only like to add, I know the court's inclined to hold him. Because Mr. Chavez has no felony history of any kind, we are asking you to consider a $10,000. Thank you.
Mr. Chavez, I'm going to hold you today on a $100,000 cash or secured bond. If you do post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. That's an agency with the court. You will need to maintain contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, obviously, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. You are not permitted to have any contact with the victim or any of the victim's representatives in this case. Do not go anywhere near where the victim is living or working. You are also ordered to have no contact with any minors at all. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've just provided you, Mr. Chavez?
I do.
Your next court date is going to be April 7th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
I do.
If you remain in custody, the jail will make sure to transport you to the next hearing. If you do post your bond and get released, it's important that you stay in contact with your attorney so you don't miss future court dates. You're all done for today, Mr. Chavez. Hi, tell me your name.
Bradley Hoyos.
Mr. De Hoyos, you were here today on charges of aggravated assault on a peace officer, resisting arrest, and drug paraphernalia. These are felony charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm appointing the public defender's office, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of this proceeding today. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. I will note, Mr. De Hoyos, that it does appear that you have a hold. Looks like by the Marshal Service, you're on either federal probation or parole. So regardless of what I do here today, that hold is going to stay in effect. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. They're asking for a $7,500 bond. My inclination is a $5,000 cash or secured bond released to pretrial services. Did the state want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Fatak?
Thank you, Judge. I actually had a question for the court. In most cases like these where the feds have something going on, I've seen them direct people to federal custody so they can finish the federal case first. I've seen it happen over and over again. So I don't know if the court would be inclined to release him to federal custody first, or if the court wants to set a bond. I guess the court said 5,000, but I'm maybe asking for 3,000.
I am going to set a bond of $5,000. That's cash or secured, Mr. De Hoyos, today on this case. If you post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You'll have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You can't have any alcohol or illegal drugs and no firearms. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victim in this case. Your next court date is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed here today?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as the federal case, sir, as Mr. Fatak pointed out, if the feds prepare a writ for you and take you off to federal court, it'll be because a judge has said that's where you need to go. I don't suspect that that will happen anytime in the next few days. So you should have a chance to talk to your assigned public defender here, and perhaps they can coordinate with the federal government to see what needs to happen on your case. So for now, you'll be here at the Pima County Jail. Your next court date is that preliminary hearing. If you do stay in custody, the jail will transport you to your next hearing. But if you end up bonding out on this case or things change, it is your responsibility to make sure you appear. And if you don't, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand those consequences if you fail to appear?
Right. So even if I post my bond or whatever, the feds, I still have that federal hold, so I'm still gonna get released either way.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
No problem.
You're all done for today, Mr. De Hoyos.
Thank you.
And Mr. Patek, I plan to do the same thing on this case that I did on the first felony that we talked about.
Sounds good, Judge. Thank you so much.
Morning, tell me your name.
Cody Morgan.
Your middle name, Joseph?
Yes, it is.
All right. Mr. Morgan, you are here today on some felony charges. I'm going to ask you to look at the screen in front of Mr. Fatak. He is the attorney representing you today, to take a look at those charges. Once you see what the charges are, let me know.
All right.
All right. So you are here for an initial appearance today, setting conditions of release on those charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. Their report tells me that you have a parole violation warrant and that DOC also has a hold on you at this time. That means regardless of what kind of bond I set on this case, you won't be released until that DOC matter is also resolved. I've reviewed information from the state. They are asking for a $150,000 bond on this case. That is my inclination. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
Judge,
Mr. Fatak?
Your Honor, given that he already has a DOC hold, we'll be asking for a less than $150,000 bond. Thank you.
Mr. Morgan, I'm going to hold you today on these charges on a $150,000 cash or secured bond. If you do post that bond, then you'd be released to pretrial services. If you do get released to pretrial, you have to stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or legal drugs, and you can't have any firearms. You are not allowed to have any contact with the victim in this case. Don't go anywhere near where she is living or working. That order does apply to you while you remain in custody at the Pima County Jail. You may be given access to phones, tablets, other ways to communicate. The order of no contact for that victim applies to you whether you are in or out of custody. Do you understand all of those conditions of release, Mr. Morgan? Mr. Morgan, do you understand those
Yes.
conditions of release?
I said yes. I'm sorry.
Okay, I didn't hear you. I don't know, maybe you were muted.
I know.
Okay, so your next court date is going to be April 7th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not happen, but you are responsible for showing up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes.
If you stay in custody, the jail will transport you to your next hearing, or you'll appear via video, much like you're doing here today. But if you do, for whatever reason, post bond and get out, it's important that you stay in contact with your attorney.
All right.
All right, Mr. Morgan, you're all done for today. And Mr. Davis, we are up next with our Spanish speakers.
Thank you, Your Honor. Interpreter's ready.
Good morning. Tell me your name.
Buenos días, dígame su nombre.
José David Benítez Mendoza.
Oscar David Benítez Mendoza.
Sir, you were here this morning on charges of possession of dangerous drugs for sale, possession of narcotic drugs, possession of dangerous drugs for sale, and illegally conducting an enterprise.
Señor, se encuentra aquí por cargos de tenencia ilícita de droga peligrosa, tenencia de droga peligrosa para la venta, tenencia de droga narcótica, tenencia de droga narcótica para la venta y de llevar a cabo una empresa ilícita.
You do have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Tiene usted derecho de guardar silencio. Cualquier cosa que diga podrá y será usada en contra suya.
You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I am going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you have an attorney today seated next to you for purposes of these proceedings.
Tiene usted derecho a representación legal. Voy a designar a la oficina del defensor legal del condado para que lo represente. Tiene a su lado el día de hoy a un abogado defensor para el procedimiento del día de hoy.
I've had an opportunity to review information from pretrial services. They've informed the court that there is a hold from the Bureau of Immigration and Custom Enforcement.
He tenido la oportunidad de revisar la recomendación y la indagación de la Agencia de Servicios Previos al Juicio. Me informan que tiene usted una orden vigente de detención de parte del Departamento de Inmigración y Administración de Aduanas.
What that means is regardless of what kind of bond or conditions of release I set for you here today, you will be held until ICE has an opportunity to have a hearing with you.
Ahora, no obstante, lo que decida yo de condiciones de libertad o de fianza, seguirá detenido usted hasta que la Agencia de Inmigración tenga la oportunidad de tener una entrevista con usted.
In addition to the information that I've seen from pretrial services about you and the nature of the offenses, the Attorney General's office has also asked for including a bond in the amount of $250,000. Good morning, Mr. Lester. Is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to add to that recommendation?
No, Your Honor, the AG is going to submit on the initial appearance sheet. We will note the defendant is not a resident of the United States, has prior felony convictions, and is facing mandatory prison time in this case, as well as the large amount of drugs that were seized, valued at approximately $275,000.
Bueno, señor, también he revisado yo las condiciones de lo que pide la Fiscalía en condiciones de libertad suya y en una fianza de $250,000 y parece que se encuentra aquí el fiscal a cargo del caso, el señor Lester, le pregunta que si tiene más información que dar y dice, no, señora juez, de hecho vamos a someter nuestra recomendación en la hoja de la comparecencia inicial y notaré que el acusado no es residente ilícito de los Estados Unidos, tiene antecedentes penales por el mismo tipo de acusación y además de eso es una cantidad sumamente fuerte de contrabando en exceso de $275,000 de valor.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I know that was a lot. Okay, Mr. Fatak, your turn.
Ahora el defensor, escuche.
Your Honor, so it looks like Mr. Benitez Mendoza's last conviction is from 2014. He doesn't seem to have any other criminal history. So we will be asking for a bond today because of the ICE hold, and we would propose $25,000.
I am going to impose the $250,000 cash or secure bond being requested by the Attorney General, particularly in light of the nature of the offense and the volume of drugs in this case.
Lo que dice el señor Fatak es que la última condena penal del señor Benítez Mendoza fue en el año 2014. Aparte de este, no tiene antecedentes penales y en vista de la orden de detención de migración, propone una fianza de $95,000. La juez dice que sí le pondrá la fianza de $250,000 en vista del tipo de acusación y también que acusación sumamente fuerte de contrabando. $250,000 de fianza.
If you do post that $250,000 bond, you'll be released to pretrial. If you get your ICE matter resolved, you'll have to check in with pretrial services, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You can't have any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to have any firearms while this case is going on.
Bueno, si usted logra depositar la fianza de $250,000, pasará usted a la supervisión de la Agencia de Servicios Previos al Juicio, Pretrial Services, someterse a cualquier nivel de tratamiento monetario que le digan, a presentarse ante ellos con
Mr. Davis, we lost you.
licor, droga o de tener armas de fuego.
Mr. Davis, we lost you for some reason about halfway through that. I heard you talk about the monitoring or treatment by pretrial services. I don't know if we got the rest of that, the no alcohol, no drugs, and no firearms.
Can you hear me now, Your Honor?
I can.
Señor, aparte del monitoreo de la Agencia de Servicios Previos al Juicio, perdóneme, se le prohíbe el consumo de licor o tenencia de licor, droga o armas de fuego. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your next court date is April 7th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're responsible for showing up at all future court dates, or a warrant can be issued for your arrest.
Bueno, la próxima comparecencia suya será el día 7 de abril a la 1:30. Debe presentarse ese día, de otra manera se ordena su detención.
Do you understand the conditions of release I've imposed this morning, Mr. Benitez Mendoza?
¿Entiende lo que le digo, señor Benítez Mendoza? Yes.
Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for future hearings?
¿Entiende las consecuencias de no presentarse en las audiencias futuras?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, you're all done for today, sir.
Bien, es todo por hoy, señor. Puede retirarse.
Your Honor, I think we can see you, but the video quality just went down to 2%.
Your Honor, I'm going to hop off video and just go.
Okay.
Audio to see if you.
Okay. Is that any better, Mr. Patak?
We can still see you and hear you, Judge. So I think we should be good.
Okay. Tell me your name, sir.
Dígame,
Ramiro
señor.
Paz Zárate.
Ramiro Paz Zárate.
So, Mr. Zarate, we do have a court interpreter for you today. So what I'm going to ask is that you allow the person to speak and then the translation will happen. Even if you understand me, wait for that Spanish translation before you answer.
Señor Paz Zárate, tenemos disponible los servicios de un intérprete el día de hoy, así es que le voy a pedir que usted permita que se diga lo que se tenga que decir, que se le interprete y usted responde después, aunque de hecho entienda inglés. Yes.
You are here on a felony charge of a narcotic drug possession for sale. It's a class 2 felony. You do have the right to remain silent on that charge. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
¿Tiene usted acusación pendiente de delito grave de tenencia de droga para la venta, delito grave de clase 2? ¿Tiene usted derecho a guardar silencio?
Sí.
You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today.
También tiene derecho a tener representación de abogado. Voy a asignar a la oficina del defensor público para que se encargue de su defensa y tenemos a su lado un abogado defensor para el procedimiento del día de hoy.
Sí.
Yes.
You have a chance to review information provided by pretrial services, tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. It also tells me that the Bureau of Immigration and Customs Enforcement has placed a hold on you at this time.
He tenido la oportunidad de revisar información que se me ha dado por la Agencia de Servicios previo al juicio para decirme un poco de usted y las circunstancias del caso. También se me informa que existe una orden vigente de detención en contra suya por el Departamento de Inmigración y Administración de Aduanas.
What that means, Mr. Paz, is that you, regardless of what I do for your conditions of release on this felony charge, you won't be released until ICE has an opportunity to have a hearing.
Lo que significa, señor Paz, es que no importa lo que diga yo con lo de la fianza, no será excarcelado sino hasta que tenga oportunidad el Departamento de Migración de tener una audiencia en el caso suyo.
Sí.
Yes.
I've had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to conditions of release. In this case, they're asking for a $25,000 bond. That is my inclination in light of the charges. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
También he visto la recomendación del fiscal a cargo del caso. Lo que recomiendan ellos es que se imponga una fianza de $25,000. Me veo inclinada a imponer la fianza de esa cantidad. Le pregunta al fiscal que si tiene más que comentar y le dice que no.
Mr. Patak?
Your Honor, just that we would be asking for a bond too, but because Mr. Paz has no criminal history, we would just ask the court to consider setting a $10,000.
Le pregunta al abogado defensor, señor Fatak, si tiene que comentar algo. Le dice que en vista de la orden de detención, sí estamos de acuerdo con lo de la fianza, pero pedimos que se imponga al nivel de $10,000.
I am going to
Sí.
impose a $25,000 cash or secured bond today. If you post that bond, Mr. Paz, and you do get released from the ICE hold, you'd be released to the custody of pretrial services and have to stay in touch with that agency.
Bueno, sí voy a imponer la fianza de $25,000, señor Paz. Ahora, si logra salir y depositar la fianza, y si logra resolver la cuestión de migración, tendrá que someterse al monitoreo y contacto continuo con el servicio de servicios previos al juicio.
You have
Sí.
You have to participate in any monitoring or treatment pretrial services directs. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on.
Tendrá que someterse al monitoreo de ellos, tratamiento antidrogas si es necesario, lo que le digan, nada de licor, droga o armas de fuego.
Your next
Sí.
Yes.
Your next court date in this matter is April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you will be responsible for showing up at all future court dates, or they can issue a warrant for your arrest.
Ahora, para la próxima comparecencia será una audiencia preliminar para el día 7 de abril a la 1:30. Esa audiencia podrá llevarse a cabo o no, pero usted es responsable por presentarse a cada audiencia futura que se pacte en su caso.
Do you,
Sí.
Yes.
do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed here today, Mr. Paz?
Señor Paz, ¿entiende las condiciones de libertad provisional que le he impuesto aquí el día de hoy?
Sí.
Yes.
And do you also understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your hearing?
Y también comprende las consecuencias de no presentarse a las audiencias.
Sí.
Yes.
You're all done for today, sir.
Es todo por hoy, señor. Puede retirarse.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Good morning. Tell me your name.
Buenos días, dígame su nombre.
El nombre,
My name,
Yeah,
Alfonso Moreno Ríos.
Alfonso Moreno Ríos.
Mr. Moreno Rios, you are here this morning on charges of dangerous drugs for sale, conspiracy to conduct an illegal enterprise, and dangerous drug possession.
Señor Moreno Ríos, ¿se encuentra usted detenido por acusaciones de tenencia de droga peligrosa para la venta, de conspiración de cometer una empresa ilícita y tenencia de droga peligrosa?
These are felony charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Estos son delitos graves. Tiene usted derecho a guardar el silencio. Cualquier cosa que diga podrá y será usada en contra suya.
You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm appointing a contract attorney for you. His name is Ben Aguilera.
Tiene usted derecho a representación legal. Voy a asignar a un abogado de contrato, abogado de oficio. Se llama Ben Aguilera.
This is the time to discuss your conditions of release. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances. It also tells me that the Bureau of Immigration and Custom Enforcement has placed a hold on you at this time.
He tenido la oportunidad de revisar la recomendación de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio para comunicarme un poco de sus antecedentes y sobre las circunstancias del caso. También me informa que existe una orden pendiente en contra suya de detención del Departamento de Inmigración y Administración de Aduanas.
What that means is regardless of what I do on your conditions of release for these felony charges, you won't be released until the ICE matter is resolved.
Lo que significa es que no importa lo que diga yo o haga con consideración de la fianza, seguirá detenido usted hasta no ser que la Fiscalía o el Departamento de Inmigración tenga la oportunidad de tener una audiencia sobre ese tema.
I've also had an opportunity to review the recommendation from the Attorney General's office as to your conditions of release. Given the nature of the offenses, I will note he is a co-defendant on other charges from before. The state is asking for a $250,000 bond. Mr. Lester, did you need to be heard further?
No, Your Honor, for the same reasons as the co-defendant, the state believes a $250,000 bond is warranted.
Dice la juez que ha tenido la oportunidad de revisar la recomendación del fiscal estatal en la que se nota que usted es coacusado con otro caso y lo que se pide es fianza de $250,000 en vista de las circunstancias y el contrabando. Le pregunta al señor Lester si tiene algo más que recomendar. Dice que no, en vista de las condiciones que se impusieron anteriormente con el acusado, pensamos que la fianza de $250,000 es lo propio.
Mr. Fisher?
Perdón. A ver, ¿cuánto es la fianza?
What was the bond amount?
I haven't set that yet. I just got the state's recommendation, which was $250,000.
Aún no la he fijado. Solamente el fiscal estatal que recomienda $250,000. Espere.
Thank you, Judge. Given Mr. Rios' complete lack of felony history, we would be asking for a $25,000 bond in light of the accident.
El señor Patak dice que en vista de la falta de antecedentes del señor Ríos, pide una fianza de what was the bond amount, please, Mr. Patak?
25,000.
Él pide una fianza de $25,000 en vista del historial de falta de antecedentes del señor Ríos.
25,000.
I am going to impose a bond today of $250,000. That is a cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, Mr. Rios, then you would be released to pretrial services and required to stay in contact with that agency.
Sí, voy a imponerle la fianza de $250,000. Si logra depositar la fianza, usted, señor Ríos, pasará a la supervisión de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio, Pretrial Services, y mantenerse en contacto con ellos por obligación.
If you do get released, you do have to participate in any monitoring or treatment pretrial services directs. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on.
Ahora, si logra salir, debe presentarse y someterse a cualquier nivel de tratamiento o monitoreo de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio y de no consumir licor ni droga ni tener armas de fuego mientras siga pendiente el caso.
Do you understand all those conditions of release, Mr. Rios?
Señor Ríos, ¿entiende las condiciones de libertad que le he impuesto?
¿Cómo?
¿Entiende las condiciones de libertad que le acabo de imponer, señor Ríos?
No entiendo. No la entendí, disculpe. No se escucha bien la bocina.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to hear clearly on the speaker, so I wasn't able to understand.
All right, Mr. Rios, I'm going to repeat your conditions of release. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Sí.
Let's see, Your Honor.
All right. The bond that I am imposing at this time is a $250,000 cash or secure bond. If you post that bond, then you'll be released to pretrial services if your ICE matter gets resolved.
Lo que yo es que le busque fianza de $250,000 en su caso. Si logra depositar la fianza y resolver el caso pendiente con migración, pasará a supervisión y monitoreo de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio y se le prohíbe posesión o consumo de licor, droga o armas de fuego, mientras siga pendiente el caso.
Did you hear that, Mr. Rios?
¿Escuchó eso, señor Ríos?
Sí.
Yes.
You will also be required to participate in any monitoring or treatment pretrial services directs. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to have any firearms.
Si logra salir, se someterá a monitoreo y tratamiento de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio. Se le prohíbe consumir o tener en posesión licor, droga o armas de fuego.
Sí.
Yes.
Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
¿Entiende todas las condiciones de libertad provisional?
No sé, no lo entendí. A ver.
I don't know. I understand. Let's see.
What part do
Your
you?
Honor, is the court able to hear the interpreter?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Mr. Patak, are you able to hear the interpreter?
Yeah, it was slightly mumbled about 5 seconds ago, but it's improved right now. So,
So, Mr. Rios, did you hear what what the interpreter asked you or told you your conditions were?
Señor Ríos, ¿pudo entender o escuchar claramente las condiciones de libertad que le repitió el intérprete?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you understand that you have to abide by those conditions if you get released?
¿Y entiende que si logra salir debe cumplir con esas condiciones de libertad provisional?
Sí, está bien.
Yes, that's fine.
All right, your next court date is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you must appear at all future court dates, and if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest.
Bueno, la próxima comparecencia en su caso será pactada para el día 7 de abril a la 1:30 de la tarde. Es una audiencia preliminar. Esa audiencia podrá o no llevarse a cabo, pero está obligado a presentarse en cada audiencia futura que se le pacte en su caso. De no ser así, se ordenará su detención.
Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear, that a warrant will be issued for you?
Entiende las consecuencias de la falta de comparecencia que ordenará su detención si no se presenta.
Sí.
Yes.
You're all done for today.
Es todo por hoy. Puede retirarse.
Good morning. Tell me your name.
Buenos días, dígame su nombre.
José Valencia.
José Valencia.
Mr. Valencia, we do have an interpreter for you today, so I'm going to ask that even if you understand what I'm saying, I want you to wait for the translation from the interpreter before you answer.
Señor Valencia, tenemos a un intérprete aquí el día de hoy. Lo que voy a pedir a usted es que espere a que se le repita la interpretación antes de responder, aunque usted entienda el inglés.
Okay.
Okay.
You are here on a charge of facilitation to illegally conduct an enterprise. This is a felony charge. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Se encuentra usted con una acusación de facilitación de la conducción de una empresa ilícita, un delito grave. Tiene usted el derecho de guardar silencio. Cualquier cosa que diga podrá y será usada en contra suya.
You do have the right to remain silent on this charge. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of this hearing.
Tiene usted derecho de guardar silencio. Cualquier cosa que diga podrá y será usada en contra suya. Tiene derecho a tener representación legal. Voy a asignar a la oficina del defensor público del condado para que se encargue de su defensa. También tiene a su lado al día de hoy un abogado defensor.
I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. It tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense.
También he tenido la oportunidad de revisar un poco de información de sus antecedentes y las circunstancias de la ofensa.
Mr. Davis, we asked you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you.
También he tenido la oportunidad de revisar un informe de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio y la recomendación que me dan ellos. Me da un poco de información sobre sus antecedentes y también de las circunstancias del caso.
The name that I have for you, sir, is Jose Christian Valencia Carlos. Can you tell me your full name or if that is your full name?
El nombre que tengo para usted, señor, es José Cristian Valencia Carlos. Dígame si ese es su nombre completo o tenemos que modificarlo.
No sé, es completo.
No, that's complete.
Right. We are here to talk about your conditions of release. I've had an opportunity to also review the Attorney General's recommendation as to your conditions. They're asking for a $50,000 bond.
También he revisado las condiciones de libertad y recomendaciones de las mismas. Y la Fiscalía del Estado pide una fianza de $50,000 para poder salir.
Mr. Lester, do you want to be heard further? I do know that this is a co-defendant. He does appear to have a little bit different role than the last two that we saw.
Le pregunta al fiscal del Estado si tiene algo más que comentar, que nota que usted es coacusado de nuestros acusados, pero parece que su nivel de participación es algo más leve.
The AG will submit on the recommendation for this defendant.
Le dice que se lo deja bajo la recomendación que ya se había hecho para este acusado.
Mr. Fatak?
Ahora el señor defensor Fatak.
I think that testing the file. So, Your Honor, as the court noted, Mr. Valencia Carlos's situation is different, and also there is no immigration hold at this time.
Dice, señor juez, como usted pudo haber notado, las circunstancias de involucramiento del señor Valencia Carlos es algo distinta y no existe orden de detención vigente en contra del Departamento de Migración.
And Judge, due to a complete lack of felony history, we would be asking for release.
Ahora, por falta de antecedentes en su historial personal, lo que pedimos nosotros es que se logre salir de la cárcel.
But if you're not inclined to $5,000.
Pero si no se ve dispuesto a hacer eso, pedimos una fianza de $5,000.
The court is going to impose a $50,000 cash or secured bond today. If you post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services.
Sí voy a imponer la fianza de $50,000 en efectivo o asegurado por propiedad. Si logra salir usted, pasará a la supervisión de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio.
If you post that bond and get released, you will be required to participate in any monitoring or treatment pretrial services directs. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms.
Si logra salir después de depositar la fianza, pasará a la supervisión de la Agencia de Servicios previos al juicio y el monitoreo y tratamiento que le recomienden ellos, y se le prohíbe tener o poseer y consumir droga, licor o armas de fuego, tenerlas en su posesión.
Do you understand all those conditions of release?
¿Entiende todas las condiciones de libertad que le he impuesto?
Sí.
Yes.
Your next court date is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're responsible for showing up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest.
Ahora, la próxima audiencia en su caso será pactada para el día 7 de abril a la 1:30. Será una audiencia preliminar que se podrá llevarse a cabo o no, pero es responsabilidad suya de presentarse en cada audiencia en el futuro. Si no se presenta, puede ordenarse su detención.
Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
¿Entiende las consecuencias de no presentarse?
Sí.
Yes.
You're all done for today.
Es todo por hoy. Puede retirarse.
And Mr. Davis, that does appear to be all of our Spanish speakers. Thank you for your help this morning. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Likewise.
Good morning. Tell me your name. Mr. Altamirano, you were here on multiple matters here today. You are here for new charges involving narcotic drug violation, aggravated DUI, dangerous drugs, and drug paraphernalia. You're also here on a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court for charges involving organized retail theft, dangerous drug possession, and possession of drug paraphernalia. That warrant issued back on December 1st of 2022. You're also here on a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court for failing to appear for a DUI offense. It does look like that was back in, the offense date was August of 2010. It looks like the warrant was issued in December of 2022. You do have the right to remain silent on all of these matters. Anything you say can and will be used against you. On the felony matters, we're going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. We're going to discuss your conditions of release on all of these matters. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. That report they prepared for the court tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offenses. I've also had an opportunity to review the state's recommendation as to their conditions of release. Mr. Poston, it looks like you're out your bond on the new matter. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. And then the warrant amount of $7,500, are you asking for that on the Superior Court warrant?
Yes, Your Honor, consecutive.
Mr. Patak.
Your Honor, looking at the new matter, I understand he already has an indicted DUI case, but if you're not inclined to release him to pretrial services supervision, we would be asking for a $2,000 bond on the new matter and another $2,000 bond on the warrant case. It looks like his justice court matter is posted for the table. Thank you.
All right. I am going to impose a bond on the new matter today in the amount of $7,500. That is going to be a cash or secured bond. If you post the bond on the new matter, Mr. Altamirano, you'll be released to pretrial services. You're going to be ordered to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. Do not drive without a valid license. Do you understand all of those conditions of release on this new case?
Yes.
Your next court date in this matter is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That hearing may or may not occur, but you're responsible for showing up at all future hearings. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes.
As to your warrant out of Pima County Superior Court for the charges of organized retail theft, dangerous drug possession, and drug paraphernalia, there is a bond amount of $7,500, cash or secure on that as well. I am going to impose that bond amount because of the nature or where we are, the posture of the proceedings, that is going to be a consecutive bond to the one that I just imposed. Your next court date on that matter is going to be April 3rd at 1:30. That's going to be an arraignment. If you do post the bond, you are still going to be under the same conditions of release that I previously mentioned. Release to pretrial, monitoring or treatment by them, no alcohol, illegal drugs, don't drive without a valid license, and no firearms. Do you understand all of the conditions in this case, Mr. Altamirano?
Yeah.
And your next court date of April 3rd, if you remain in custody, you'll appear via video for your arraignment, much like you're doing here today. If you do post bond, you do need to make sure you're staying in contact with pretrial services and also your attorney. Finally, the matter out of Pima County Justice Court, I'm going to release you on that matter. So if you get all of your felony matters resolved, then you're going to need to take care of that one. Your next court date on that matter is going to be April 9th at 2:00 in the afternoon. If you are still in custody, the jail will have you appear via video for that hearing, much like you're doing here today. Again, don't drive without a valid license, no alcohol or illegal drugs. Those are the conditions in that case. You understand your conditions in the misdemeanor matter, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, if you fail to appear for that future court date, if you get bonded out, they're going to keep issuing warrants for you. This is something you have to take care of. Do you understand that? All right, you're all done for today, Mr. Altamirano. Hi, tell me your name.
Elijah Barnes.
Mr. Barnes, you were here on a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court for failing to appear at an arraignment on charges of possession of a dangerous drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services on this matter. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. They are asking for the $5,000, which is the amount that's on the warrant that I issued back in December of 2024. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Patak?
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, Mr. Barnes is asking you to consider releasing him to the supervision of pretrial services. That's because it looks like this case was initially filed and then dismissed and then refiled, and it looks like he didn't get the mail. He is classified as a level 2 offender, Your Honor, and because this is a simple possession case, we're asking you to give him one more chance on pretrial services release and order any monitoring or treatment as they direct. Thank you.
So, Mr. Barnes, I am going to hold you today. I'm going to reduce the bond amount that I originally had of from $5,000 to $2,500, but that is going to be a cash or secured bond. Mr. Barnes, I have a bunch of things I need to talk with you about, okay? You can talk with me in just a minute. So I am imposing that bond. I want to make sure that you appear for your court hearings. When you show up for future court hearings, you'll have a chance to meet with your attorneys. They can file a motion to modify. You and I will very likely meet again in the courtroom. You'll have a chance to decide whether or not you want to resolve these charges and get some drug treatment and get connected with services as well. But for today, the bond is $2,500 cash or secured. If you do post, you'll be released to pretrial. If you get released, you have to participate in any monitoring or treatment pretrial services directs. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Do you understand all of those conditions?
Yes, I do.
Your next court date in this matter is going to be April 3rd at 1:30. That is the arraignment. If you're still in custody, you'll appear via video, much like you're doing here today. If you fail to appear because you bond out, they could issue another warrant for your arrest. Do you understand, Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
All right.
No, like you said try to get it resolved with agreements and stuff like what do you okay, is there any
No.
way that
That's
get
not, it's nothing that can be done today, Mr. Barnes, but what'll happen?
it can be like dropped out to misdemeanors or anything like that? So I'm
That's something,
yeah.
that's something that you'll talk to your attorney about. So before the arraignment, you'll have a chance to talk to your attorney from the public defender's office, and they'll be able to explain kind of how the process will work from here. There's usually a plea offer that the state extends. I have no idea what that might be, and that's what your attorney will make sure to discuss with you. All right?
Yeah.
All right. You're all done for today.
Beach.
Morning. Tell me your name.
Courtney Lee Beach.
Ms. Beach, you are here today on charges of theft of means of transportation, burglary in the third degree, and trafficking in stolen property. These are felony offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm appointing the legal defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. We're here to talk about your conditions of release on the new matter. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. Looks like you also have a probation violation warrant out of Superior Court. So regardless of what I do on these charges today, you're going to be held until you're seen on your probation matter. Do you understand that?
Surely.
I've reviewed the state's recommendation. They are asking for a $2,500 cash or secured bond. That is my inclination, particularly in light of the probation hold. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Mr. Patak?
Your Honor, I was also going to ask for a bond. State's asking for a reasonable bond. To advocate for Ms. Beach, I would ask for $1,000 bond.
Ms. Beach, I'm going to hold you today on a $2,500 cash or secure bond. If you do post that bond, then you'll be released to pretrial services. When you get released to them, if you get released to them, you're to participate in any monitoring or treatment that they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to have any firearms. Do not have any contact with the victim in this case. Don't return to the incident location. Do you understand all those conditions of release?
Surely.
Your next court date is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're responsible for showing up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Surely.
All right, you're all done for today.
Benoit. Benoit. Anyway, the thoughts. Benoit. Valid. Benoit.
As well.
Hi, tell me your name.
Elaine Josephine Benwell.
Ms. Benwell, you are here on multiple matters today. The first one does involve new charges relating to possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of dangerous drugs. You're also here on a matter out of South Tucson as well, and out of Pima County Justice Court for shoplifting. You do have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. On the felony matter today, I am going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. It does look like you have another felony matter holding you. It looks like you failed to appear for a status conference in CR 2018-2078 in Pima County Superior Court. So regardless of what I do on these new charges here today and your other warrants out of South Tucson and Justice Court, you're going to be held until you see a judge in Superior Court on that other matter. Do you understand that?
And when will that be? Yes. When will that be?
I don't know when your court date is. All I know is what's
How
in
will I
front of
find
you.
out?
Your attorney will tell you. So I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You have Mr. Fatak seated with you today, and he's going to represent you for purposes of the conditions of release. I reviewed information, Ms. Benwell, from pretrial services. That information tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. They're asking for a $2,500 bond in this case. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Mr. Fatak?
Your Honor, I was actually going to challenge the probable cause statement because there was no testing done on the alleged dangerous drug. But since the state is offering the STEPS contract, we just asked that the court give her a STEPS date today, and we will not be waiving time for the PH because since she looks like she'll be held in custody. Thank you, Judge.
All right, so Ms. Benwell, today I am going to impose a $1,000 cash or secured bond for you. If you post that bond on your new case, then you'd be released to pretrial services. If you get released to pretrial, you have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs, and you can't have any firearms to the release.
Yes. Yeah.
As Mr. Fatak said, you may be eligible to participate in a pre-indictment diversion program.
Okay.
Involving participating in substance abuse treatment. If you agree to do the treatment and agree to participate in the program, if you qualify, I can give you a court date for that. And if you successfully complete it, the state won't go forward with these new felony drug charges. Is that something you're interested in?
Yes.
All right, so I am going to set a STEPS hearing for you. That's going to be next week, April 3rd at 9 a.m. That's going to be in front of Judge Hampson in Pima County Superior Court. If you're in custody, they'll transport you for that hearing. You'll have an opportunity to meet with your attorney on that date. If you haven't before, they'll review the contract with you. You'll also have an opportunity to meet with pretrial services, and service providers from the community will be there as well to get services set up if you qualify for that program.
Okay.
Your next court date after that one is going to be a preliminary hearing. That's on April 7th at 1:30. That hearing may or may not happen. Some of that will depend on what happens at your STEPS hearing next week. But you're responsible for showing up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand all of that? Ms.
Okay.
Benwell?
Yes.
Okay. Now we need to talk about your South Tucson case. It looks like there's a warrant out of South Tucson for shoplifting. I am going to impose a bond in that matter of $100. That is going to be cash or secured. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. And that attorney is going to be Michael Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
Your next court date then on that matter is going to be, hang on, March 28th. So that's going to be tomorrow at 10. And I believe that's going to be via video, much like you're doing here today. So you'll have an opportunity to get that matter taken care of. If you post your bond on that case and you get released, Do not return to where the shoplifting occurred, the incident location, the victims are there and you can't go back there. Do you understand all of
Okay.
that?
Yes.
And the same thing, if for some reason you bond out, you still have to go to South Tucson tomorrow. Now we need to talk about your justice court matter. That is a shoplifting case. Looks like the bond amount on that warrant is $50. I'm going to actually release you on that case number today. So I'm not going to appoint an attorney. I'm
Okay.
just going to release you. So once you get your South Tucson case hopefully resolved tomorrow, you'll get your steps hearing next week. This will be something in the future you're going to have to make sure you take care of. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so your conditions of release for that case, again, it's a shoplifting, so don't go back to where the shoplifting occurred. That's where the victims are. Your next hearing on that matter is going to be April 7th at 8:30. You may very well be out of custody by that point. So you're going to have to make sure that you appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
And for that court date, if for any reason you are still in custody on April 7th, they'll have you appear via video like you're doing today. All right?
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Benwell, you're all done for today.
Okay.
Hi, tell me your name. Ms. Cox, you were here today on a couple of matters. The first is a DUI charge and possession of drug paraphernalia. Those are, the DUI is a misdemeanor, the drug paraphernalia is a felony. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in that matter. Today, I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. You also have a Tucson City Court matter we're going to talk about in a few minutes. On the felony case, I have had a chance to review information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. It looks like they're asking for a $2,500 bond on this matter. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Mr. Fatak?
Your Honor, we are actually asking if the court considered releasing Ms. Cox to pretrial services supervision. Looks like she qualifies for the STEPS program and she is willing to waive time for the PH. Her last conviction is from 2018, Your Honor, and she was terminated early from probation, so she is able to abide by any conditions that pretrial services may impose. I understand she has other misdemeanors holding her, but she's asking for one chance at pretrial services.
You did good on pretrial before too.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Poston.
the 2,500 is based off of the 6 and the 5 on her NCAFTA scale, as well as she's had probation violations in the past. And therefore, the state isn't comfortable with just recommending direct release to TTS and STEPS. Thank you.
And do you agree that she's eligible for STEP so I can give her a STEP date?
I do.
All right. So Ms. Cox, I am going to release you to pretrial services today and give you that opportunity to make sure that you're staying in touch with that agency. When you get released today, you do have to stay in contact with them, participate in any monitoring or treatment that they direct. You will be alcohol tested, so you're going to have to do what they ask you to do on that.
Okay.
You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't drive without a valid license, and you're not allowed to have any firearms while this case is going on. I'm going to give you a couple different court dates. The first one is for April 3rd at 9 a.m. You've heard the attorneys refer to STEPS. That's a pre-indictment diversion program where if you agree to participate in substance abuse treatment and you qualify for that program, you complete it successfully, then the state would not go forward with the felony drug charge against you. Is that something you're interested in doing?
Oh, of course, yes.
All right. So that hearing is going to be on April 3rd at 9 a.m. You must appear for that hearing. It's going to be on the 3rd floor of Pima County Superior Court in front of Judge Hampson. If you don't show up that day, you're going to miss your chance to be eligible for that program. Do you understand?
I do.
The next court date I'm going to give you, are willing to waive time, Mr. Fatak, given that she's going to be released?
Absolutely, Judge. And the 45 days falls on May the 12th, 2020.
So the next court date that I'm giving you, Ms. Cox, is a preliminary hearing, and that's going to be scheduled for May 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That court date may or may not occur. Some of that's going to depend on whether or not you're eligible for steps, and your attorney will give you further direction. But we are going to set that preliminary hearing date today. If you fail to appear for your future court dates, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. First, do you understand the conditions of release I've imposed in your felony matter?
Yes.
And do you understand the consequences that warrants can be issued if you fail to show up for court?
Yes.
All right, now we need to talk about your Tucson City Court matter as well. You're here for a drug paraphernalia and exceeding the speed limit. Looks like both of those are misdemeanor charges. There was a warrant that was issued for your arrest. I'm going to release you on your promise to appear on that case. Don't drive without a valid license. Your next court date on that matter is going to be April 24th at 9:30. This is something that you have to take care of, Ms. Cox. It's not going to go away.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Right. You're going to be appearing in front of Judge Maldonado at Tucson City Court, April 24th at 9:30. When you get released later today, you'll get a copy of your paperwork. It's going to have the court date and time as well as your release conditions on it. And I think Mr. Fatuk has written it all down for you as well.
Okay.
Right. You're all done for today, Ms. Cox.
Thank you.
Hi, tell me your name.
Illegal.
Ms. Joel, you are here on multiple matters here today. You're here for a couple of new felony matters. Both of those involve possession of dangerous drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. You're also here on matters out of Marana. We'll talk about those in a minute. You do have the right to remain silent on these felony charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office today, and you have an attorney seated with you for purposes of these proceedings. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation on your felony matters. Because these matters involve personal possession drug cases, Ms. Joel, you may be eligible to participate in our STEPS program. That's a program the county attorney's office offers. And if you agree to participate in substance abuse treatment and you qualify for that program, they may not go forward with these felony charges. Are you interested in participating in that program?
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I am inclined to release her today to pretrial. Does either side need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Judge, we will waive time for the PH and no objection to the release, obviously.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Joel, you're going to be released to pretrial services today. What that means is that you do have to stay in touch with that agency. You're going to have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while these cases are going on. Do you understand all those conditions of release?
Yes.
Your next hearing, that steps hearing, is going to be next week. It's going to be April 3rd at 9 a.m. That's going to be in front of Judge Hampson, and that is Pima County Superior Court on the 3rd floor. At that hearing, you'll have a chance to meet with your attorney, pretrial services, and also our community partners for that program to get you set up with some services. Ms. Joel, I have an address for you on Bellevue. Is that still a good address for you?
Yes.
So you do need to appear at that hearing next week. If you don't show up, then you're not going to be eligible and the state will go forward with these felony charges. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing for you. We're going to extend that time out a little bit, given the fact that you may be eligible to participate in steps. So the hearing after the one next week is going to be May 12th at 1:30. We'll show time being waived for the PH to participate in steps if you're eligible. That preliminary hearing date on May 12th at 1:30 may or may not occur, but you are responsible for showing up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that, Ms. Toole?
Yes.
All right, I have to finish some paperwork, so give me a second. We're going to talk about your Marana case, and it does look like you're also here on a Tucson City Court matter as well.
Your Honor, do you mind if I quickly jump back on the call? It's really foggy, the video, and there is a slight lag. So I'm going to try to reconnect if the court's okay with that.
How about we finish with Ms. Stool and then jump back on? Can we do that just so we don't get completely sidetracked with this one?
Absolutely, Judge. No problem.
All right. All right, we're going to talk about your Marana case next, Ms. Stool. It does look like that is also for drug paraphernalia and criminal trespass. And then you have failures to appear on that as well. Looks like these stem back from 2023. I am going to release you on those Marana matters today. Do not return to wherever that criminal trespass was. That's where victims are and you're not allowed to go back there. For that Marana matter is going to be on April 30th at 10 a.m. And I know Mr. Patak is writing down all of these dates for you. That's going to be at Marana City Court. You do have to appear at that date and time or they're going to issue more warrants for your arrest. Do you understand, Ms. Joel?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about your city court last. Your opportunity to participate in that STEPS program will help you with all of these things, I think, in getting them all resolved. You can't ignore court matters. They're not going to go away. And hopefully, if you get some assistance with whatever substance use issues may be going on, that'll be something that'll help get all of these resolved. You'll have an attorney and treatment providers that'll be able to help you through this process. So it's really important. I can't stress that enough, Ms. Joel. Show up next week. It's really going to be worth your while, okay? Let's talk about your city court matters. You're here on that. Looks like a warrant for shoplifting, drug paraphernalia, and another shoplifting case. Again, I'm going to release you on your city court matters. You do have to show up for your court date there on April 30th at 2:30. And that's going to be in front of Judge Mayhew at Tucson City Court. You do need to appear at that date and time to get that case taken care of. If you fail to appear, they're going to issue another warrant for you. You understand, Ms. Joel?
Yes.
Okay. You're all done for today. You're going to get released. Make sure you talk with your attorney and definitely make sure pretrial services knows how to get in touch with you. They'll also work with you and make sure you have reminders for court hearings and things. There's a woman by the name of Courtney that you may have contact with through the STEPS program. She's amazing. She works for pretrial. She'll be a big help to you. All right. You're all done for today.
Good luck.
All right, Mr. Patak, do you want to try to reconnect?
Yes, Judge, but I'm partially scared because what if I'm not able to reconnect? I think I'm going to try once.
That's fine. I mean, it has been definitely glitchy today for sure, but I feel like we've been getting through it. So why don't we just try to power through and you can let me know if you can't hear me, okay?
Judge, thank you.
All right, sir, tell me your name.
Tyler,
Mr. Eller, you are here today on felony charges involving burglary in the third degree, theft of a credit card, and fraudulent use of a credit card without consent. These are felony charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on these matters. Today, I'm appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. Tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release, which is what we're here to talk about today. They're asking for a $5,000 bond. I am inclined to release Mr. Eller to pretrial with conditions that involve not returning to the incident location or having contact with the victim. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Patak?
No, Your Honor, we're okay with release. Thank you.
So, Mr. Eller, I am going to release you to pretrial services today. You do have to show up for all your future court dates and you have to stay in contact with pretrial. Do you understand that?
yes, ma'am.
You have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct of you. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. I show an address for you on West Illinois. Is that still a good address for you?
No, I gave pretrial my new address. That's my grandma's address. She's no longer with us.
I'm sorry. What is your new address so we can get that information corrected?
It's 5220 North La Cañada Drive.
Is there an apartment number associated with that?
No,
What's the zip code?
85705.
All right. We'll make sure to get that updated as well. Do you your additional conditions, as I said, no contact with the victim in that case? Don't go anywhere near where those people are living or working. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yes.
All right. So your next court date is going to be April 16th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but it is your responsibility to show up for all future court dates. So when you get released, it's going to be important that you stay in contact with your attorney so you don't miss future court dates. If you fail to appear, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
You're all done for today, Mr. Eller.
Thank you.
Yeah, is there a probation for that?
Hi, tell me your full name.
Luis Escamilla?
Is it Escamilla Cheno?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, you were here today on a charge of prohibited possessor involving a firearm. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on this matter. Today, I'm appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of these proceedings. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services on this case. It looks like you are currently on felony probation. Is that the case?
Yes.
Jail, are you showing any hold on him at this time?
At this time, no.
They're telling me no, Judge.
All right. The report from pretrial does tell me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. I've also had an opportunity to review information provided by the state. They're asking for a $5,000 bond in this matter. That is the court's inclination at this time. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Mr. Fatak?
Judge, I know the court just indicated that it would be holding him, but Your Honor, looks like Mr. Escamillo Chino was placed on probation in 2024, and his mother is able to provide good support. I anticipate a petition to revoke will also be filed very soon, but we're asking you to consider releasing Mr. Escamillo Chino to pretrial services supervision. Thank you.
Given that he was on probation and found to be in possession of a firearm, I do find a bond is appropriate in this case. So I am going to impose a $5,000 cash or secured bond today. Mr. Escamilla, if you do post that bond, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. You are going to have to contact your probation officer the first working day following release. So if you post the bond in this case, you do need to contact your probation officer. You'll need to participate in any monitoring or treatment pretrial services directs. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you are not allowed to have any guns at all, nowhere near you at all. Do you understand those conditions of release?
Yes, sir.
Your next court date is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. If you get released, it's going to be really important that you stay in contact with your attorney so you don't miss any court dates if they change. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you understand that the warrant could be issued if you don't show up.
Yes.
You're all done for today.
Very good. Thank you.
Hi, tell me your name.
Stephen Farrell.
Mr. Farrell, you are here today on a charge of aggravated assault impeding the airway. It is a domestic violence offense. It is a felony charge. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the proceeding here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. It does look like you are on felony probation at this time. Jail, are you showing a hold?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So what that means, sir, is regardless of what I do here today on this case, you're going to be held until you can be seen in Superior Court on your probation matter. I've had a chance to review information provided by the state. They're asking for a $40,000 bond on this case. Mr. Poston, I'm inclined to impose a $25,000 cash or secured bond on this new charge. Did you need to be heard further?
No,
Mr. Fatak?
Your Honor, given that he's going to be held on the probation matter anyway, we are asking you to consider setting a $5,000 bond so he can earn some time credit. Moreover, Judge, we would be asking for the court to allow contact with the victim because she indicated to pretrial that she is requesting contact. Thank you.
So, Mr. Farrell,
I don't understand what happened. Like I'm following what I'm supposed to be doing. Me and my wife got into an argument. Whoa.
so Mr. Farrell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're going to have an opportunity to talk with your attorney from the legal defender's office and ask any questions and talk with them about possibly filing motions to modify in the future. No. Now is not the time for you to talk. So you're going to get a chance to talk with your attorney later. It's now time for me to let you know the conditions here. And again, you're going to be held on the probation matter. For this case, I am holding you on a $25,000 cash or secured bond. If you do post that bond and you get released on your probation matter, you'll be released to pretrial services. You're going to have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. Just like on probation, you can't have any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to have any firearms. I understand that the victim in this case did say she wanted contact with you, but I am not allowing that at this time. You'll be in custody on your probation matter. This order applies to you, sir, for as long as you remain in custody. So whether you are in or out, you are not to have any contact, not direct, not indirect, with the victim in this case. Do not go anywhere near where she is living or working. Again, you'll have the chance to talk with your attorney from the legal defender's office, and they can file a motion to modify. But today, that's the court's orders for your conditions. Do you understand those?
No, I mean, I understand. I don't understand where this is all coming from.
Okay, so
How it escalated to this level.
So again, sir, I'm not asking if you like those charges or the conditions. I'm asking if you understand them.
No, I do not understand where they're coming from and why it escalated so high.
Well, that's not the question I'm asking you. Do you understand that if you get released, you are not allowed to have any contact with your wife at this time?
No.
Okay, so
I don't understand that because
So here is the option, Mr. Farrell. You're telling me you don't understand, and it looks like you just aren't happy about that. And there's a distinction between the two. What I will tell you is if you truly don't understand what's going on here, I need to make sure that you do understand the conditions that I'm imposing. If you don't, then what we do is reset this. You can come back tonight and another judge can do an initial appearance with you, and I'll ask the jail to make sure that you do have the capacity to understand what we're talking about here today.
I have the capacity to understand her.
Okay.
I apologize for
So, Mr.
Judge, can I'm sorry to cut you off. Judge, can I have a brief moment, please?
Yeah.
Your Honor, be good. Thank you so much.
Okay. So, Mr. Farrell, your next court date in this case is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future hearings or a warrant could issue for your arrest. If you're in custody for your next hearings, the jail will make sure that you appear either via video or in person. If you get released, you have to stay in contact with your attorney so they can let you know of changes in court dates. You do fail to appear, that warrant will be issued. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
You're all done for today. Fiddler does, not him. At least I didn't see anything in his folder. Yeah. Hi, tell me your name.
Timothy Fiddler.
Mr. Fiddler, you are here on a few different things today. The first one does involve felony charges of narcotic drug possession, dangerous drug possession, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And then you have multiple matters, at least a half a dozen out of Tucson City Court, where you have warrants and multiple failures to appear. You do have the right to remain silent on all of these cases. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on the felony matters today. I'm appointing the public defender's office, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services as well as the state's recommendation. Given the nature of the felony charges, they are asking that you be released to pretrial services. I will tell the parties that I am concerned about release given his multiple failures to appear on his Tucson City Court matters. I am inclined to oppose a $1,500 cash or secured bond. I will give him the steps hearing and hopefully he'll get connected with those services if he gets released, but I'm not inclined to outright release today. Mr. Poston.
Very well, Your Honor.
Mr. Fatak.
So, Your Honor, I understand the court's concerns, but this is just a proposal, Your Honor, is if the city court date can be sooner than the smart court date, then we can, I'm hoping the city court judge will release him if no. So in that case, Your Honor, let's just do nominal bonds and everything so he starts earning time credit, and we're okay with the steps hearing, and we will not be waiving time for the PH since he remains in custody. Thank you.
And I am going to be setting a bond on the Tucson City Court matter, and it does look like his video review hearing date is going to be on the 2nd. So by the time he gets to the steps hearing on the 3rd, Judge Hampson can certainly review his conditions at that time as well.
Sounds good, Judge. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Fiddler, for your felony charges today, I am going to impose a $1,500 cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You're going to have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. There is a pre-indictment diversion program that you may be eligible for. If you agree to participate in substance abuse treatment and successfully complete the program, if you qualify for it, the state will not go forward with these felony charges. Are you interested in seeing if you qualify for that program?
Yeah.
All right. So your next hearing in that matter is going to be April 3rd at 9 a.m. That's going to be in front of Judge Hampson in Pima County Superior Court. If you're still in custody, the jail's going to transport you to her courtroom. You'll get a chance to meet with your attorney, review the contract for the program, and see if you qualify. You'll also have a chance to meet with substance abuse treatment providers in the courtroom as well to get you connected with services. Your next hearing after that in this matter is going to be April 7th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur. That's going to largely depend on what happens at your steps hearing next week. But you are responsible for showing up at all future court dates, so you do have to appear or they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right. Now we need to talk about your Tucson City Court cases. At this time, I am going to impose a bond on that. You have multiple matters: disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, drug paraphernalia, theft, more drug paraphernalia, and it looks like you have the disorderly conduct is a DV offense, and you have not been abiding by the conditions in that matter. So there is a $2,500 bond being set on your Tucson City Court matters. I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. That is going to be a cash bond at this time. Your next hearing is going to be April 2nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. And that will be in front of Judge Million. If you're still in custody, the jail will make sure you appear via video, much like you're doing today. If for some reason you do get released, you're going to have a different court date of the 28th at 3 p.m. that you will need to show up for. Do you understand those conditions of release in your Tucson City Court cases?
Yeah.
All right. And make sure if you do, for whatever reason, bond out and they don't see you on the 2nd that you show up for court, they're not going to go away, Mr. Fiddler. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, you're all done for today.
Gordon.
Hi, tell me your name.
Sarah Gordon.
Ms. Gordon, you are here today on charges of possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of a narcotic drug. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. It does look like, in reviewing information provided by pretrial services, that you do have a failure to appear for a sentencing or a matter in Superior Court. So regardless of what I do on this case today, you are going to end up being held on that until you can be seen and it looks like it was a failure to appear for sentencing. In light of that, I am inclined to impose a bond on this matter of $1,000 cash or secured and give her a steps hearing review date. Does either counsel need to be heard on conditions?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, that sounds good. Unless yeah, she can be sentenced till she sees a report judge, so that's good. Thank you.
Okay. So Ms. Gordon, on these new drug charges today, I'm going to impose a bond of $1,000. That's going to be a cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You do have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. The STEPS program that I was referring to earlier is a pre-indictment diversion program. It's a program the state offers where in exchange for you participating in substance abuse treatment and successfully completing the terms of the program, they would not go forward with these felony charges. Is that something you're interested in participating in?
Say out loud, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So it's a great opportunity. I'm going to give you a court hearing date for that. That's going to be on April 3rd at 9 a.m. You're going to see Judge Hampson on that date. If you're still in custody and your sentencing hasn't taken place yet, you'll have an opportunity to see her that day. You'll meet with your attorney, review the contract, and there's also substance abuse treatment providers in the courtroom that will help get you set up with some services right then and there. Your next court date after that is going to be a preliminary hearing. That's scheduled currently for April 7th at 1:30. That hearing may or may not occur, so it's important that you stay in contact with your attorney. If you get accepted into the STEPS program, that date could certainly be affected. That's why it's important for you to make sure you stay in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court dates, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear, Ms. Gordon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand all the conditions I've imposed here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're all done for today, Ms. Gordon. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Agent Guerrero.
Your middle name, Jesus? All right. You are here today on a charge of armed robbery. You do have the right. That is my inclination. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Mr. Fatak?
Your Honor, we were going to ask for Mr. Guerrero to be released to pretrial services. That's because he seems to have lived in Tucson for 6 years, and his mother has offered to provide third-party custody and transport. We understand if you're not inclined, though, we ask for a $2,000.